I've spent my career helping people find the right home, but what I've learned is that the real stories, the ones that move us, live beyond the door. I'm Brad Hansen, and this is Beyond the Door, where we sit down with people shaping our communities, redefining our success, and opening up about what really matters. Today on Beyond the Door, we're talking about something that affects every one of us, money, but not in the way that you might actually expect it. My guest is Amanda Gross, a financial advisor who's made it her mission to help women step into financial confidence and to change the way that we talk about wealth. Amanda believes that building financial security isn't just about numbers, it's about knowledge, courage, and freedom. She's helped countless women take control of their futures and rewrite their money stories. We'll talk about what inspired her to walk this path, the myths that hold people back, and what she's learned from women who have sat across the table from her. This is a conversation about empowerment, purpose, and the kind of wealth that starts within. Welcome to Beyond the Door with Amanda Gross.
Thanks for having me.
Amanda, when you look back at your journey into finance, was there a moment that felt like you were stepping through a new door? Something that changed how you saw money or your purpose in this work?
I don't know that there was necessarily a exact moment that changed everything. I just know I was actually raised in a very strict kind of religion where everybody was very traditional roles. My mother stayed home, my father worked, and money was very up and down, but we didn't talk about it. So I kind of was raised in a almost like a fog of not really knowing costs, not knowing our financial situation. So as I got older, that's when it kind of became more real of what was actually happening behind the doors at home. And I just knew for me, I wanted something different. It wasn't necessarily that it was bad. I just knew that I wanted something different. I wanted freedom. I wanted to be able to have the means to not be worried. So for me, that was a big aha of something that I wanted. Now, how I was going to get there, I did not know. I kind of fell into my career, but when I say that, I mean that one of my friends was changing her career and a spot opened up at this firm. And what was crazy is I had never even heard of this. I had never even heard of financial wellness. I had never heard of wealth management. I had never heard of stocks. So I had to pretty much learn a whole foreign language. And here I am 21 years later in the industry. And that knowledge is something that I want to make sure that everyone around me has. So I think
crazy. I had no idea that you've been doing this for 21 years.
21 years in this industry, 11 at my
Wow.
office of like helping people. Yeah.
You've dedicated so much of your career to helping women build confidence around money. Why do you think so many women still feel hesitant to talk about wealth, and how do you help them rewrite that narrative?
I just think that there's this weird conversation that's not happening, and that I think that the generation before that didn't have these conversations around money with their children and with especially their daughters, unfortunately. And so this kind of generational gap was formed. And especially once you think of like the Great Depression, and then you've got this generation of people that just held on to wealth. And then the next generation is kind of frivolously spending it because they're not having this conversation around it. So a big part of what I'm trying to do is make sure that we are speaking holistically to everyone, family and generational. So making sure that grandma knows the story, is telling the story of the money that they are passing down generationally, because I think that if you know the money story, it changes the way you look at it, and it changes the appreciation you have about it, and just having the conversations opens up to where people aren't so scared of it. It's a foreign language, finances. So to be able to have that conversation and not feel silly about asking like, what is a mutual fund? Feeling safe. I think that's the big thing, is being able to have these conversations and feel safe around what all of these different things are.
When you meet with a client, what is the first thing that you want them to feel, not just understand, about their financial life?
I think I want them to just be able to look at it as like a map. Let's see exactly where we are, but I also want to know their goals. So wherever that they are currently doesn't need to be the final stop, if that makes sense. When they come in, I want them to feel comfortable, and let's look at where you are. Let's make a plan, and don't be scared of the journey to get there.
You work in a field that can be intimidating. What have you learned from sitting across the table from women who are just beginning to take ownership of their finances?
I think just don't be scared to figure out exactly where you are. exactly you are. I think that's the biggest thing, is that everyone's afraid to actually sit down and pull it together and look to see exactly where they are. How crazy is that?
It's crazy, but why do you think people are so scared, specifically women?
Because of the generational, almost, and I hate to say it, but it's like generational trauma around money. Women weren't
Taught.
taught, nor were they the main earners. So it's almost like they didn't feel like they had a voice when it came to the funds and it came to the money. And so now, as we're all starting to work, there's this weird lack of conversation happening as couples are coming together and earning income together around how these funds are spent and how they're being saved and what's happening with them. And then what I find is that if divorce or someone passes away or something happens, there's this gap of like, I wasn't really paying attention. I didn't need to. And so I love to bridge that gap. When I have any couples come in, either male, female, whichever way, right? Because I have a lot of strong female clients. So sometimes you're going to get on the other side being the male, not having any clue of what's going on. It's important that we bridge that gap both ways.
All right, Amanda, if we went beyond the door of your own life for a moment, beyond work, titles, or money, what drives you? What do you want your clients or even your daughter or friends to understand about your success?
Well, so something that's really important to me is I've been in the industry now for 21 years, and I didn't just decide one day to become a financial advisor. I had come in as an office administrator and worked for some great advisors who taught me a lot. And then one day thought, I want to take care of people like this. I want to change lives, not just be the one helping get the appointments set up and get them in. I want to be the one that's being able to say, hey, you can retire. And I want to be the one that explained along the way how they got there and set that goal and celebrate those life points with them. And I think a really great part about this whole evolution of my career has been that my daughter's gotten to witness it. And so she plans on going to Central to become a wealth manager as well. So it's really neat to watch this evolution of something that I wasn't even aware of growing up, being something that now my daughter has in her mind as what she would like to do in the future.
That's crazy. I mean, the impact that you're doing for your community, but also reflecting it at home. It's crazy.
Without even intentionally doing that.
No intention.